Earlier today, a video popped up on my phone of a prime Russell Westbrook accepting his MVP award in 2017. I vividly remember watching this award ceremony on the couch with my friends after watching him average a triple-double in the regular season. People act like this is normal now, but at the time, it was like watching this man make history. And as I remembered Westbrook's prime years and how universally loved and appreciated he was in OKC, it made me think, what happened to Russell Westbrook? This was not supposed to happen. Westbrook was not supposed to end up bouncing around from team to team, being considered a liability. At one point, Russ was an untouchable asset on a contending team. Now it feels like most teams don't even want him. How did this happen? How did one of the greatest point guards of all time end up like this? Westbrook has been very polarizing since his NBA career began. Being drafted by the Seattle Supersonics, but never wearing a Sonics jersey as they would become the Oklahoma City Thunder his rookie year. He was drafted to be the second star alongside the guy who just won Rookie of the Year, Kevin Durant. The duo was formed, and the Thunder became must-watch basketball. Westbrook's draft comparison was Rajon Rondo at the time, but as we all know, Westbrook played nothing like him. And nothing like majority of the point guards in NBA history. The explosiveness and the ferociousness he played basketball with made him so entertaining. But critics would very quickly begin to judge Russ from his first season. He was overall a very inconsistent shooter and was just a very inefficient scorer. One play you were getting a highlight reel fast break dunk and a hype celebration, and then you were getting 10 bricks in a row followed by a turnover. What many people saw as just a rookie finding his way, this would end up being Westbrook's same problems for many years to come. His second year, he made the playoffs for the first time alongside Kevin Durant, and they were matched up against the 2010 Lakers, and we all know they didn't stand a chance. Kobe was hungry this postseason, and they would end up winning a championship this year. But the 2011 postseason is when OKC showed their true potential. Westbrook was coming into his own and got selected for his first All-Star game this season. They beat the Nuggets and the Grizzlies in the first two series, bringing Westbrook to his first conference finals. They would lose in a gentleman's sweep to the Dallas Mavericks, but this showed the potential that this young Thunder team had. In just Westbrook's third season and Kevin Durant's fourth, they were already almost making the NBA Finals. That Mavericks team went on to beat the Miami Heat super team in the finals, but the Thunder got the revenge the following season. The Mavericks team that beat them went on to beat the Miami Heat super team in the finals, but the OKC Thunder got the revenge in the next season, matching up against them in the first round and sweeping them. Yes, they swept the defending NBA champions and the team that just beat them the year before. They beat the Lakers in a gentleman's sweep in the second round and beat the number 1 seed San Antonio Spurs in 6 games, making it their first ever finals appearance. Unfortunately, the Thunder fell short to the Heat in 5 games, giving LeBron his first ever ring and the Thunder a sad walk down the hallway. And this photo, which goes down as one of the biggest what-ifs in NBA history. A lot of people throw blame on James Harden this series because of how inefficient he was, but people glance over the problems that Russ was having this series as well. Between Westbrook and Kevin Durant, it's not even close who the best scorer is. Kevin Durant was the clear number 1 option on that team. But for some reason, Westbrook would take as many shots as Kevin Durant a night, and not nearly as efficient as KD did. This began the talks of Russ being a ball hog for the same reasons I mentioned earlier. His percentages weren't good at all, and Russ's selfishness in these moments may have costed them a chance at a championship. And since they lost in 5 games, people forgot how close the series actually was. They weren't just getting blown out every game, the Thunder definitely had a chance to win it. Regardless, the NBA knew this team was still young, and the potential they had was insane. They were all still very young in their careers, so people weren't quick to count them out. The Thunder were the number 1 seed in the Western Conference the following year, and they seemed determined to get the job done. They matched up against the Houston Rockets in the first round, and then, just when we thought this was Westbrook and KD's time, Patrick Beverley happened. The man took out Westbrook's legs and injured him for the rest of the postseason. After losing Russ, they went on to lose in the second round to the Grizzlies, and it was a very disappointing end for the Thunder. But Kevin Durant would make it all worth it the next season, winning his first ever MVP and playing out of his mind in the regular season. Westbrook played amazing as well, having better percentages and somewhat better shot selection, and it really seemed like the Westbrook-KD duo was about to take over. They made it to the Western Conference Finals this season, but fell short to the San Antonio Spurs again. Things would only get worse for the Thunder next season, as KD would get injured and have to go through surgery, which caused him to be out for majority of the season. This was Westbrook's time to prove that he could lead a team. We saw glimpses of what Russell Westbrook being the leader of a team would look like, and it was electrifying. He was, at this point, definitely a top 3 point guard in the NBA, and one of the most entertaining players in the league. His quickness and his highlight reel dunks were something special. But it wasn't enough for them to make the playoffs this season, as they would lose a playoff clinching game at the end of the season. Westbrook didn't know it at the time, but this next season would be their last chance to win with Kevin Durant on the Thunder. They were confident they could beat any team in the NBA, except for one. The Golden State Warriors were on a whole other level this season, winning 73 games in the season, breaking the Chicago Bulls regular season record. If Westbrook wanted to prove himself against the MVP Steph Curry, this was his chance. They matched up against the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals and took a commanding 3-1 lead. They were about to create history and beat the best team in NBA history in 5 games. And then they collapsed. Westbrook went back to his terrible shot selection, KD didn't step up when his team really needed him, and they blew a 3-1 lead to the Warriors. This one hurt them bad, and it started to raise questions about if the Thunder could still be championship contenders. And even more questions about if Westbrook and KD were a good enough fit for each other. This was their 8th season together, with only one finals appearance. KD knew he had the talent to be an NBA champion, and he felt like Westbrook was holding him down. So in the summer, after the Warriors lost to the Cavs, KD joined the Warriors in the most notorious free agency signing in NBA history. Fans felt like he stabbed Westbrook in the back. He left his teammate after 8 years and a conference finals appearance to join a team that just beat them. This put Westbrook in an interesting situation. Everybody knew Westbrook had the talent, everybody knew how good he was, but could he lead a team? His entire career, he was always second fiddle to Kevin Durant. And now that the pressure was all on him, even though it hurt the Thunder's chances, it was time to see what Westbrook was made of. And to everybody's surprise, Westbrook accepted this calling. Not only did he prove that he could be the best player on the team, he proved he could be the best player in the entire NBA. This season, he became the first player since Oscar Robertson in the 1960s to average a triple-double for an entire season. People today act like triple doubles are just a normal stat, and Westbrook is the reason why. He was so good at getting them that people forgot how hard they are. At the time, it was unlike anything we had ever seen. The Thunder were good, but only good enough to make the 6th seed in the West. This made people question if Westbrook actually deserves the MVP if his team is only a 6th seed. The triple doubles and the stat lines were enough to convince the voters, and he won his first MVP. Even though they went on to lose in the first round this season, this was a very important moment for us. While Kevin Durant was dominating the NBA alongside the greatest team ever assembled, the Thunder were entering a new era. Westbrook became one of the most loved players in the NBA. His loyalty to OKC and the situation with KD made fans appreciate him, and it cemented himself as one of the best players in the world. The next season was pivotal for him. The MVP was cool, the stat lines were amazing, but he still didn't have any hardware to show for it. The Thunder were able to get Paul George on the team this season, which was a very big move for them. PG was still an all-star caliber player, and he fit the role that the Thunder needed at the time. Russ would average another triple-double for the entire season, and the MVP race was a battle between Westbrook's triple-doubles and James Harden's 40-point games. James Harden ended up winning it, and it was time to see what Westbrook, Paul George, and the Thunder could do in the playoffs. And for the 2nd straight year, they lost in the first round. The 2 years after Kevin Durant left, and Westbrook was put as the standout leader of the Thunder, they weren't able to make it out of the first round both years. And a lot of the blame went on Westbrook. His stats and averages were good, but it didn't translate into winning basketball. It's the same reason he won an MVP award strictly off stats, and only led OKC to the 6th seed and lost in the first round. This is when the names for Westbrook went from ball hog to stat padder. Everybody's heard players get called stat padders, but Westbrook is the biggest of them all. This man made sure he was going to get that triple-double each night. Win or loss, the triple-double is what mattered to him. And because of this, the hate for Westbrook continued to grow more and more, and in the 2018-2019 season, it was an all-time low for him. In the playoffs, they were matched up against Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. Westbrook and Dame had been talking trash all series. Russ was taunting him and the Blazers every game, and Lillard took this personal. And after 11 seasons with the Thunder, Lillard ended Westbrook's entire Thunder legacy with one shot.
Chance to send the Thunder home. Lillard, long-range three, and it's good at the buzzer!
This was Russell Westbrook's last moment as a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Damian Lillard shooting a sidestep buzzer beater from the logo and waving his team goodbye. After this, Paul George was traded to the Clippers, and Russell Westbrook was traded to the Houston Rockets. I don't think people realize that Dame sent OKC into a rebuild with one shot. It was a bittersweet moment for Oklahoma City Thunder fans. Westbrook held them back from their full potential for many years, but he's always going to be loved there for his passion and the loyalty he had for the team. On the Houston Rockets, Westbrook was reunited with his old Thunder teammate and MVP opponent for years, James Harden. People had no idea how this backcourt was going to work since they were both such ball-dominant players. The pandemic hit right in the middle of this Rockets experiment, but they matched up against the Thunder in the first round, ironically. Westbrook was out the first 4 games, but he returned towards the end of the series and they won in 7 games. Then they got matched up against LeBron and the Lakers and got eliminated from the bubble in a gentleman's sweep. The Rockets quickly realized this duo was not going to work out, and Westbrook would get traded again, this time to the Washington Wizards. His time with the Wizards is a pretty forgotten and weird one. It really felt like we were watching the downfall of Russell Westbrook, getting bounced from team to team and losing in the first 2 rounds every single year, and still not having a championship to show for his career. The Wizards entered the playoffs as a 8 seed, and they got eliminated in the first round by the 76ers. At this point in Westbrook's career, it was running out of time for him to contend. And for the 3rd straight season, he would get traded. This time though, to a championship contender, the Los Angeles Lakers. Going into this, people were just hoping that Westbrook could adjust his game to LeBron and AD, and finally be a piece to a championship roster. And he did the exact opposite of that. He played like Westbrook always does, but somehow so much worse. Shooting the worst percentages of his career and enough airballs and bricks to fill up an entire compilation. He genuinely became a liability to the Lakers. It was clear he didn't fit with the team, and he wasn't willing to do everything it takes to win. Because of this, the Lakers missed the playoffs this year. A team with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook missed the playoffs as the 11th seed. And again, a lot of the blame goes on Westbrook. For the 4th straight season, he was traded again, this time to the Clippers. He hasn't played with the Clippers for a very long time, so it's hard to tell how he's going to be with them long term. But we did see him in the playoffs on the Clippers, going against his old teammate Kevin Durant on the Phoenix Suns. And surprise, surprise, Westbrook lost in the first round. Which brings us to today. Since Westbrook won his first MVP and took over the league with his triple-doubles, he has lost in the first round 5 different times, only made it to the second round once, and he didn't even play majority of the series, and the second he came back they got eliminated. And he has been on 5 different teams. This was not supposed to be Westbrook's legacy. From an emerging rising star alongside Kevin Durant with limitless potential, to the NBA's most valuable player and a universally loved player in his prime, to now being looked at as a liability and a player nobody wants on their team, getting shipped across the league every single season and being hated and ridiculed by so many NBA fans. It's a sad situation when a player refuses to adapt how he plays, gets stuck in his ways, and destroys his legacy. No matter what happens in the future, nobody will ever forget how good prime Russell Westbrook was and how electrifying of a player he was. And even though it's frustrating watching his legacy diminish each season, next time you watch Westbrook play, appreciate him while he's still in the NBA. The man will go down as a legend without a ring or with one, and we are all going to miss Russ a lot when he retires. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but that's all I've got for today. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to check out my last video where I discussed how Jimmy Butler may need Damian Lillard to win the championship. But with that being said, I'm out of here, and I'll see you on the next one.